Hello, everybody. This is Joe the Lawyer with another edition of Analog Man Cave. Today, I'm kind of in a chill, happy mood. The edibles helping, and good meal I just had. But I just posted an old interview I did with Tim Shorts and Rob Connolly back before I even knew Rob. It's like from 4 years ago. So check it out. It's about an hour and a half long. It's very, very interesting. It's fun. It's funny, good stories, the whole bit, how they met and all that. So anyway, I'm just thinking, it's so cool. I get to know these people, they get to know me. We never met until very recently, all of us, and but yet we've been playing dice together for years and talking about D&D for even more years than that, right? And it's kind of nice. It brings everybody together. It's kind of a cool game. And I was just thinking about, thank God for D&D. Really, it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me in my life that I came across. To make my life better. Right? I'm not married, don't have kids, so I could say that, right? But I mean, if you think about it, what it look back at me in eighth grade, right? I was voted, believe it or not, the quietest and shyest kid in my class. The eighth grade superlatives. Yeah, that was me, the quietest and shyest. I think there was also something about destined to be a computer programmer or something like that. I was big in my Commodore VIC-20, but that's just you get the idea who the hell I was. I'm sitting there trying to figure out a paper route program for collecting money on my Commodore VIC-20, and quietest and shyest in my class. Ninth grade, high school, I met some guys who were rolling these funny dice and yelling and screaming and what the hell is going on here? And they introduced me to this game. And I remember I thought, oh my God, this is great. It was in the fall of 1984, right? And so I'm thinking, this is fantastic. I think I got the red box, the Mensa red box for Christmas, and went out and went to the library, tried to read the Lord of the Rings books and stuff like that. And it was just it made high school bearable. I went to a shitty high school. It was a trade school, and I didn't learn too much. It was like, there wasn't much there that was interested in me as an academic kind of guy. But, parents like, go learn a trade. I'm like, yeah, well, what do you do? What good did that do me? Anyhow, they helped me get through by meeting these cool people, having, an intellectual endeavor other than because school was a joke back then, right? So, it's basically, beyond the bonding with the high school kids and getting you through and playing I don't know how many hours and millions of hours of games with my brother, and whenever we could force my sister to play with us or bribe her somehow, and then some friends of ours, and it just grew from there into college. And it's just great for like bonding, just guys and girls, friends, just bonding together and getting to know each other. And what do we do in life? We don't go through thick and thin, right? We're not in World War II. We're not in the Civil War. We're not fighting for our lives, but virtually we are. We got three of us and eight orcs, and we all down half our hit points, and it's like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And we pull it off, and we're screaming it just as if it was a real thing. It's awesome. It's awesome. And then you build the stories, right? You build all these stories you can refer back to. I've been playing Jesus, 40 years ish, right? And you look back and you just have all these things that just great memories as if it really happens. And then you hear your friends, your family you played with or whatever years back, and they're telling a story and like, oh yeah, I remember that. It's just great times, great. And it's simple, basic times, especially when you're doing a pen and paper around the table, passing the beer and the burgers and that sort of thing. It's just awesome. And from those experiences comes real friendship, right? Which I think today we're kind of lacking a lot of, more and more people. It's like that Bowling Alone book, and more and more people, less and less people are doing anything together, and so more and more people are alone. And in a world where everything is technological and algorithms deliver you friend to friend relationships and dates and everything else, it's just so sterile and cold. And this is it's more of a genuine thing, And from those friendships, you have support, right? So many times we've sat there and talked about, who has what going on in their family. You're supposed to be logging in to play D&D or going to the table and play D&D or whatever. And you see someone's going through something and what's going on. And, so-and-so is sick, just got diagnosed with some bad thing, disease, cancer, whatever, or someone's parents is, getting older and maybe died or something like that. Lost all the things that, friends help each other through hard times with, we deal with, right? And so you just, the game it's not even a thought that we're going to play tonight. We're just going to have a few. We're going to sit there and then talk and just be there for each other, and that's awesome, man. That's awesome. That sort of thing. The personal relationships that you get through this game are really just amazing. And other things just beyond the personal, the social stuff, just as a personal development thing. I can't tell you how much it's helped me in terms of like critical thinking, trying to analyze things, trying to figure things. Especially if you're 14 years old, you're reading Gygax's DMG or Player's Handbook. You're like, what the hell is all this about? It's a challenge, right? And then you dive further and further in. And I mean, I can't tell you how much the critical thinking skills helped me with wish spells, for example. I don't know what came first, the wish spell or critical thinking skills, because back in the old days, AD&D, that's just the DM's party right there. That fuck with the player. But another thing, I don't know what came first, the lawyer or the wish spell, because crafting a perfect wish spell, we would take a whole weekend. It's because you're trying to think of how you're going to get screwed over. How's the DM going to fuck this up on me? And that's pretty much what being a lawyer is. Trying to figure out how the other side's going to fuck your side up before they do, and protect against it, right? So I don't know. But the other thing too is just the knowledge, because at least for me back in the day, we didn't have a lot of money. You had the World Book encyclopedias and in my house, and then I go to my grandfather's. He had an old set of Encyclopedia Britannicas, and so I just read all the stories, everything I could in there that I wanted to know about. But then eventually, you finish the whole book, the whole encyclopedia, everything you're going to get out of it, right? And so then you go to the library, and God, so many times I took out books on Vikings or weapons or swords or wars or just medieval ages and knights, and God, it was awesome, And then you take the book out, you take it home, you read it, read it again, because you didn't have access to knowledge, right at the tip of your fingertips. Now with cell phones and computers, you had to know the stuff, right? And so I have more knowledge from back in those days than I've attained in my recent years. Maybe because it's you got that plastic brain of a youth where everything gets absorbed or whatever. But I think also it's just because you had to memorize it, you had to learn things, because you're bringing it to the table. You can't look it up on the spot. You had to be there with the knowledge in your head. And so it really did help with exploring new ideas, things I would never have been exposed to had it not been for, D&D. Not just, knowledge about real things, non-fictional stuff, but fiction books too. I mean, Jesus, Appendix N was my starting point, right? Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, all Fritz Leiber stuff. And then from that was like a springboard, Michael Moorcock. And then I get into like, the Belgariad series, the Shannara books, the Midkemia books, all those things. And just, God, you just dive headfirst in there when you're that quiet, shy kid, right? Without a lot of social activity, no car, not going to the prom, things like that. It's just, you had a good time. You had a good time. You lived a little extension of your fantasy life in there. And God, yeah, those books. I mean, how many campaigns did I take inspiration from some of those things I read? And that many of those things I read just expanded my horizons to other books or other authors, other things those authors wrote. It's awesome. It kind of made me a reader again, in a sense, because once you finish encyclopedias, what's there left to read, right? It got me into a new avenues of it. So really, I guess, to finish it up, I appreciate D&D for so many things, personally, emotionally, spiritually, my friends, my social life, everything. It's a fantastic thing. And I'm so glad I found it, and so glad I, get to play with my friends, there's really nothing better than that. I guess D&D kind of made me who I am today. So anyway, thanks for listening, guys. If you like this video, please do hit the thumbs up, subscribe. We're trying to get to 5,000 subs as soon as possible. All right. I'm trying to beat Eric Tankar and whoever gets there first. So I appreciate it if you do like and subscribe to this. All right. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.